Okay, folks, we're going to wrap up the rest of the review problems on review sheet number 3. This problem, problem number 5, is a combined variation. We've got direct and inverse within the same problem. And it says the volume of wood in a tree, call that V, varies directly as the height of the tree, and inversely as the square of the girth. Okay, so that's how we would set that up. Direct variation, it's K, your constant variation times the number. Inverse means you have the fraction in there. So the first thing we have to do is figure out K. It says if the volume of the tree is 144, and when the height is 20, and the girth, that should say girth, and the girth is 1.5, so we know K times 20 over 1.5 squared. And if we do all that in our calculator, so we have 1.5 squared times 144 divided by 20, and we end up with K is 16.2. So with that, it says what is the height of a tree with a volume of 1,000 and a girth of 2? So what is the height of a tree if the volume is 1,000? So now that we know K, we can substitute that in. So 1.62 or 16.2 h over 2 squared, and so that would be 4,000 divided by 16.2, and that would give you 246.9. H is equal to 246.9. Okay, so that's an example of that combined variation. Okay. The next one, this is going back a ways when we talked about circles. This is in general form. We need to put it into standard form in order to find the center and the radius. To do that, remember, we have to complete the square. So I'm going to group my x values together, 4x squared minus 16x, and I'm going to go ahead and group my y values together, 4y squared minus 24y. And I'm going to move my 51 over to the other side, so it would be negative 51. Okay, remember here, the first thing we have to do before we can complete the square is factor out the 4. So if I take 4 out, I know 4 times x squared minus 4x. And here, I'm going to do the same thing. I'm going to factor out the 4, and that leaves me with y squared minus 6y, okay, is equal to negative 51. So now I have to complete the square. So I take half of 4 and square that. So half of 4 is 2. When I square that is 4. That gives me a 4 here. Remember, I also have to add to the other side of the equation. Whatever I add to this side, I have to add to this side. But here's where you have to be careful. I'm not just adding 4 to this side, I'm adding 4 times 4, so I'm adding 16 to this side of my equation. Okay, I'm going to do the same thing here. Half of the 6 is 3, 3 squared is 9. So I'm really adding 36 to this side of the equation, so I have to add 36 to that side of my equation as well. And when I complete the square then, and I rewrite this, I end up with 4 times x minus 2 squared plus 4 times y minus 3 squared is equal to 16, and 36 is 52. Minus 51 would give me 1. And now I need to go through and divide everything by 4. I just did that kind of fast, but basically you're dividing everything by 4. And you end up with x minus 2 squared plus y minus 3 squared is equal to 1/4. Remember, 1/4 is the square of the radius. So the center here, our center, remember, is at, you take the opposite signs of what's in here. So our center is at 2, 3. But my radius is not 1/4, it's the square root of 1/4. So my radius is 1/2. Because remember, in the formula, this is radius squared. Okay, the last problem is writing the equation of circle when we're given 3 points. I know you guys love this stuff, so we're going to go through this. Okay, remember the equation that we're using is x squared plus y squared. And actually, let me go back here. This is technically a squared. We're talking about the general form of any conic section. It's actually ax squared plus by squared plus dx plus ey plus f is 0. However, when we're talking about a circle, a and b are the same, so we don't even need them. Okay, so we need to set up 3 equations because we'll have 3 unknowns, d, e, and f, and so we're going to solve it using systems of equations. So we'll start with the first point, 14, 0, and we say x squared plus y squared, right, is the equation that we're using, right? So we're using a is 1 and b is 1. So let me actually go back because we're using the point 14, 0. So this is the equation that we're using. X squared plus y squared plus dx plus ey plus f is equal to 0. So what I'm actually doing is I am plugging in these values for x and y. So I end up with 14 squared plus 0 squared plus 14 times d plus e times 0 plus f is equal to 0. Okay, and that leaves me with, let's see, 196 plus 14d plus f is equal to 0, and so my equation then is just 14d plus f is equal to negative 196. Okay. My next point is 12, 4. And when I substitute 12 in for x and 4 in for y, I have 12 squared plus 4 squared plus 12d plus 4e plus f is 0. And if I were to go through and get this all in proper terms just to save some time, you end up with 12d plus 4e plus f is equal to negative 160. My last point is 3, 7. And if I were to go through that same process, the equation I would end up with is 3d plus 7e plus f is equal to negative 58. So I have 3 equations, 3 unknowns, and so now I'm going to have to do system of equations. So what I would do first is, let's see, we could really do anything. This equation already has d and f in it, so if I look at this equation up here and this equation down here, and I eliminate the e's, then I'll have an equation with d and f in it. So if I take, let me change colors here. If I take this equation down here, that's 12d plus 4e plus f is equal to negative 160. So I'm going to multiply my top equation by negative 7 and my bottom equation by 4 because I want to eliminate the e's. So that leaves me with negative 21d minus 49e minus 7f is equal to negative 386. I think that's right. Hopefully that's right. And my bottom equation, I have 48d plus 16e. Oh, wait. I did that wrong. Folks, let me back up. I want to eliminate the e's. Sorry, guys. I did them in the wrong order. I'm trying to save time and do this fast so I don't run out of time in the video. And I switched the order. Hold up. Sorry, guys. This should be negative 4, and this should be 7. Okay, so that gives me negative 12d minus 28e minus 4f is equal to 232, and 7 times 12, 84d plus 28e plus 7f is going to equal, let's see, 160 times 7, 1120. So that gives me 1120, and that would be a negative 1120. Okay, and so now when I combine, my e's cancel, so that would leave me with 72d plus 3f is equal to 1120 minus 232 gives me 888. This is an f, 888. And now I can take this equation, 14d plus f, and actually let me just save some time here, and all I'm going to do is multiply this equation here by negative 3 so I can eliminate the f. So if I multiply this equation by negative 3, I end up with negative 42d minus 3f is equal to, oh, this was negative 888, is equal to 196 times 3, that should be 588. Yep, it gives me 588. And those will cancel. That leaves me with 30d is equal to negative 300. So d comes out to be negative 10. And then you can go back in and solve for f, and then you can go back and solve for e, right? So now that you have this, you can go back to this original equation and solve for f. When you do that, you end up with f is equal to negative 56. And then when you go ahead and solve for e, you end up with e is 4. And so your final answer then, you plug all that in. I'm running out of room here. You plug all that in to the standard form, and you end up with x squared plus y squared, oops, minus 10x plus 4y. I'm trying to rush this so I don't run out of time. Plus 4y minus 56 equals 0. If you go back and complete the square like we did in the last problem, your final answer then is x minus 5 squared plus y plus 2 squared is equal to 85, and that is the equation of the circle. Okay, everybody, that's it. Hopefully that helps, and good luck on the exam. Take care, everybody. Bye-bye.